Welcome into NFL Daily, live once again. I am Tom Downey, producer Jack, behind the scenes tonight as well. We've got a jam-packed show full of a ton of NFL news for you since trades and roster cuts and claims and waivers, etc., all over the place. We begin with maybe the number one move of the day. Apologies to Alex Leatherwood. Jalen Reagor on the move at long last. The Eagles somehow actually got some pretty good value back. A 7th-round pick this year, a conditional 4th-rounder in 2024 that I'll make note could be de-escalated to a 5th-round pick, and I would bet it ends up being a 7th and a 5th, which is still pretty great value for a 1st-round pick who, hasn't done that great so far. So who won the trade? Obviously, the Vikings won the draft pick because, they got Justin Jefferson, and now they're getting Reagor for a 4th-rounder as well. But just the trade itself, who won it? E for the Eagles, V for the Vikings. Let me know in the comment section. It's also the pin poll tonight. 58% going Philadelphia, 42% going Vikings. I am inclined to agree. I'm going with the Vikings on that standpoint there. Or the Eagles, Eagles. I think they beat the Vikings in that trade. I'll give some shout-outs here. Rochi says E, Super Yoshi, Untouchable Raider, Junior Estrada, my boy Micro Mike in there. All spamming in their E's. Caden Plays says V. Untouchable Raider says E. RG says V. Robert Bruce, the NFL kid. Michael all saying E in there. David Corona says E. Matty Ice says V. Relentless Mikey, E. Cujo, E. It's getting a little bit closer now. 56% going with the Eagles. So we'll check in on this poll throughout tonight's live show as we wait and see who will you guys vote for. Who won the trade? Jalen Reagor trade for 2 draft picks. E for the Eagles, V for the Vikings. Among the litany and rash of NFL moves made today was Alex Leatherwood being claimed by the Chicago Bears, off of which was pretty interesting from that standpoint there. What is the percent chance, in your opinion, that Alex Leatherwood just sucks? That he's never going to be good, that the Bears shouldn't have claimed him, that he's just not going to be a good situation? He's just never going to be a passable player. What is the percent chance of that? Some Raiders fans in the comment section, 100, 150, 100, and 100. That's not a surprise to me. I see you, Junior Estrada, Juan Hernandez, Untouchable Raider. 70% from Relentless Mike, Untouchable Raider now saying 1,000 from that standpoint. Goku says 45%. Super Yoshi's at 95. 69 from True Allure. I love it. RJ's at 100. NFL Kids at 96%. Courtney Johnson says 75%. RJ says 100. One Nation Underground says 50. So a very high percentage thinking he's just going to be bad. I get it. He was a disaster for the Raiders. I know there's been some position change and whatnot, but it's been a pretty big disappointment for Alex Leatherwood so far in his time in the NFL. Only a year. It takes a lot, and the Raiders look at the Bears claimed him from a money save perspective. His deal is now fully guaranteed for Chicago. It takes a lot for a top 20 pick to get cut a year and a half. Not even a half, just say a year in. That's pretty bad. Pretty bad for Leatherwood. So hopefully things change in Chicago, but I'm not feeling too confident from that perspective. All right, I want you guys to name a player who you think ends up getting traded. Let me know in the comments section what player you think gets dealt. We saw Jalen Reagor get moved. We've seen other players, Trayvon Mullins, since the Raiders, if you were drafted by John Gruden, they just don't like you anymore. Let me know in the comments section a player you guys get or you think gets dealt. I see Darius Slayton from Junior Strata. Adam Thielen from Taco Frog. I don't know about that one. I'd be kind of surprised on that front if they ended up moving him. I see Cleveland Furl. I don't know if anyone wants that money, to be honest. Another Robert Quinn in there from SM. DK Metcalf, they just paid him. Zero chance on that from that standpoint. Saquon Barkley. If the Giants are bad, it could be a prime trade deadline candidate, I think. Let's see. Jackson Carman from One Nation Underground. He already lost the starting job. Speaking of busts, Jackson Carman is a bust for the Bengals. Tyler Lockett, maybe. I think next year might make more sense from that standpoint. Eddie Pinheiro, but no one trades for kickers. Robert Bruce says Daniel Jones. Wouldn't that be wild if they traded him away? I mean, that'd be the ultimate tank move by the Giants, but they're going to be bad, so, it's fine. Chuck Clark, that's a good one, Dan. It's a good name to keep an eye out for. Worst case, it's good depth for the Ravens, but that could be a good move there. Daniel Jones, Tyler Lockett is in there again. Douche says the DT from the Commanders. I assume you mean, oh, now I forgot his name. Deron Payne, the guy who wanted an extension, didn't get it. Decent name. Damian Harris, Cordero Patterson. Sleeper names, like those. I like those. Keep them coming. Name a player who you think ends up getting traded. Now, a two-part ask here. Shout out your team in the comments section and name a free agent you guys want to sign. I asked for the team, too, because I know who that untouchable Raider is a Raiders fan. I know Robert Bruce from experience as a Patriots fan, but RJ, if you don't have like the team name in your name or your profile picture, I don't know who you're cheering for. So, shout out your team and name a free agent you want to sign. It's a lot of Raiders and Ndamukong Suh in there. Nathan Mills says the Cowboys and Jason Peters. RC Plain Builder says the Cowboys and Ndamukong Suh. David Joyner says Cowboys and OBJ. Twitter also says Darrell Williams. Chargers, Darrell Williams. Cowboys, OBJ. Bears, any receiver. I've heard that many a time this offseason. It's funny. Seattle, I don't know, from Michael. Maybe nobody, in all seriousness. Monroe, Gadet, Eric Fisher. Chiefs, OBJ, Mahomes. Man, imagine a healthy Odell Beckham on that Chiefs squad. That'd be fun if he's healthy. He's probably not going to be cleared until October, November-ish. William Fuller to the Packers. I like that one, Will Fuller. It's fun. Raiders, Darrell Williams. Patriots, a defensive back. Maybe an actual outside corner. Like, they don't have one, really. Patriots, Chris Harris Jr., more nickel guys. Seahawks, inside linebacker. Vikings, Ndamukong Suh. Bengals, J.C. Treader. He retired. We can pretty much cross Treader off the free agency list, guys. I'm sorry to say. I don't think he's coming anytime soon. Let's see what else we got. Will Fuller, OBJ, Desmond Trufant. That's a good name for the Patriots, actually, if he's back to somewhat old form. He's been a bit of a problem in recent years. One more I'll mention, Sue to the Raiders and Packers, Emmanuel Sanders. Football finally is 8 days away. Next Thursday, Rams and the Bills in what should be an awesome opening game, Thursday Night Football. So football is finally back. If you are excited, like the video right now. We've got about 160, 170 people watching right now and not even to 50 likes, which is pretty damn disappointing as far as I'm concerned. Let's get that changed. Like that button right now. I'll make some quick notes here off the top while you guys like it. Two other moves. Royce Freeman released by the Texans. Trey Sermon cut by the 49ers. So, raise up here. Once again, stop letting Kyle Shanahan draft RBs in the top 100. Let me get that tweet off here. Stop letting Shanahan draft RBs early. It doesn't work when he does it. Joe Williams. We'll see if Tyrion Davis-Price ends up not sucking at all, but stop letting... He's just not a scheme fit. It just never made sense to me. All right, anyway, that's besides the point here. Here's what's coming up on the live edition of NFL Daily. A lot of news. Trade recap. There's been some more chaos as it relates to waiver wire moves and whatnot. Not one, but two NFL mailbags as well. So get your questions in now by super chatting. Get brownie points. You become the show MVP if you super chat. Or just by using hashtag NFL in the comments section. So do those two things to get on the show. We'll then run through the top free agents left, including some guys on practice squads, and on Rumble only, Cowboys Report After Hours, some NFL Power Rankings. All coming up right now here, live on NFL Daily. Here's what's coming up on today's edition of NFL Daily. The Jalen Reagor trade details. We'll break down that shocking move. The Panthers, are they next to trade away a wide receiver? We'll also run through all the trades made in recent days and break down all the notable free agency, waiver claims, etc. made today by NFL teams. But first, Jalen Reagor is no longer a member of the Philadelphia Eagles. They've been trying to trade him. They found a taker for a lot more than I think what we thought he was going to go for. A 2024 conditional 4th-round pick might end up being a 5th-round pick when it's all said and done, a 7th-round pick this year. The Vikings get Jalen Reagor, which is kind of funny to me because Reagor, of course, has been a huge disappointment. The big part of that was the Eagles took Reagor over Justin Jefferson, and that was everyone thought that's not a good idea. That's bold. I don't know about that idea there. And then everyone was proven right. The Eagles were wrong. And then Jefferson becomes even better than what people thought he was going to end up being. And now they're both together in Minnesota. Reagor, I think, needed to get out of Philadelphia. I don't think he's going to be a god-awful player the rest of the way. Maybe it's a little bit of a, a similar situation to Nelson Aguilar where he gets to a new destination, has some more success. I don't think he's built for Philly. The Eagles, meanwhile, are fine at receiver once they add some more depth. I think A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Quez Watkins, Zach Pascal is fine. As receiver 1, 2, 3, 4, you need a 5th, though, on your roster. The Vikings actually have some talent, whether it's Reagor or Osborne at receiver 3. I believe this team is going to use more 11 personnel by a pretty good margin than what Vikings fans have grown accustomed to over the years. So Reagor goes from Philadelphia to Minnesota for what will probably be a 5th-round pick and a 7th-round pick. That 5th-round pick comes next year based on stats. Kind of don't think he ends up making it, but we'll see. We don't have the exact conditions on that pick at this point. So with that in mind, who won the trade? E for the Eagles or V for the Vikings? This question is going to be the pinned comments on today's show. So if an ad break comes here on YouTube, that's all good. Take advantage of it. Head down to that pinned comment and spam your E for the Eagles because they won the trade or V for the Vikings because they won it. Let me know in the comment section. Let's have some fun now. A lot of roster moves made today. Let's break down some of the notable additions for teams. Alex Leatherwood goes to the Bears. The 17th overall pick in 2021 was cut a year after his first year, I should say. The Bears will take on his remaining salary. So they owe him 3 years, $5.9 million. All of it's fully guaranteed. The way it's structured, you don't really want to cut him until 2 years from now, or this year and then next year as well. But the Raiders already gambled that someone would claim him. They actually save a ton of money with the Bears adding that contract. I don't know where he's going to play for them. He's played guard and tackle for the Raiders. Not great at either. To be clear, and I hate being this blunt, but it's the reality of the situation, he sucked for Vegas. It was a shockingly bad performance where if this was a 7th-round pick, he might not be in the NFL anymore. But a 1st-round pick with talent, we all assume, going to get a second chance, I would wager. But there is a very real possibility, in fact, it's probably the likely outcome, that Alex Leatherwood, unfortunately, is just a bust. It is so rare to see a team, even with a new regime, dump a player after 1 year, especially a top 20 draft pick. That's unheard of. So be honest with me in the comments section. What's the % chance that Leatherwood is just a bust? The Bears were not done making moves. They made 6 waiver claims. They're down to, I think I saw this number. I might be wrong. 19 players from last year's roster. It's all that's left. A complete overhaul in Chicago. It's insane. They had Josh Blackwell, Kingsley Jonathan, Armon Watts, notable one there, could be a starter for them on the defensive line, or at least a high-end rotation player. Trayvon Wesco is a good blocking tight end. Sterling Weatherford is a guy I liked a lot from my alma mater, Miami of Ohio. Colts and Bears, it's not a surprise those two overlap. Matt Eberflus, the DC, there's a lot of similarities there. He, I think, could be a nice special teamer for the Bears. Some quarterback movement now. How about Ian Book going to the Eagles? The Eagles claim him off of waivers from the Saints, the former 4th-round pick. And then former 3rd-rounder Kellen Mond gets claimed by the Cleveland Browns after the Vikings said, 2 different Vikings teams said, nah, he sucks, we're done. Both QBs were drafted pretty early, and they're now out of their respective organizations, which is a pretty rare sign and also an indication that they're just not very good. If you had to pick one QB, though, for me, who is it? Type in IB for Ian Book or type in KM for Kellen Mond. Let me know in the comments section right now. More movement as there were not many offensive linemen claimed. One of them was Chuma Adoga, the Jets tackle who the Jets leaked the Cowboys had interest. I don't think they actually did. and then they end up waiving him. The Falcons claim him on waivers. He will compete at some point this year for the right tackle gig because Caleb McGarry is not very good. The Bengals made 3 of my favorite claims. Devin Asiasi, the former UCLA tight end. The Patriots cut all their tight ends from a couple years ago because those were bad picks. He brings some nice depth. Max Sharping, I think, is better than Jackson Carman is right now. Great O-line depth there. Jay Tufele, former 4th-round pick from UCLA. I like that addition as well. And the biggest one, O.J. Howard, who I think, unfortunately, that Achilles injury really sapped Howard of the remaining athletic talent he had. But he can block for you. And if that's your tight end too, and then you got, Asiasi as tight end 3/4, it's fine with me. That makes quite a good amount of sense. The Jacksonville Jags, again, being ultra-aggressive, 5 claims. Ty Summers, off waivers from the Packers, the linebacker. JaMychal Hasty from the Niners, who also, by the way, just cut Trey Sermon. Now, I'll make note that there's a reason all these guys are cut. They're not that good. But, if you're 55 on this team and 54 on the other, it's probably fine to add them. Or in this case, I guess 50 for Jacksonville. Or 48, #math. Tyree Gillespie on his 3rd team in 2 weeks. Raiders trade him. Titans cut him. Jags claim him. Riley Patterson from the Lions, a kicker. And Kendrick Pryor from the Bengals goes to Jacksonville. Some other notable moves. Javelin Guidry, the former Utah defensive back. Great speed special teamer, goes to Arizona. Tyler Johnson, the Bucs receiver, 5th-round pick. They had too many guys. Houston claims him. Former 3rd-round pick Justin Lane from the Steelers goes to the Giants on waivers. Blake Hance, the Browns guard, goes to the Niners. He could be a 6th or 7th lineman for them. And Tariq Castro-Fields, off waivers from the Niners to the Commanders. Other veterans that have been signed in recent days or are going to sign, allegedly. Nate Sudfeld going to the Lions. See you, David Blau. He's out of here. Sudfeld lost his job because the Niners kept Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy. Now he goes to be the backup in Detroit. And Sony Michel, the former Dolphin and Patriot, is now a member of the Chargers. Also, former Ram, by the way. Isaiah Spiller's banged up. We'll see if Michel can carve out an RB2 or RB3 role, but it's kind of been the situation for him in recent years. Now, not every team made a claim today, and I'm not talking about signing practice squad guys when I ask this question, but did your favorite team make a move? Type in Y for yes or N for no in the comments section. Today's show is made possible by BetUS. Head over to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code NFLDaily. When you put down at least $100, they're going to give you an extra $125 for free. And not only can you bet on a wide variety of games when you use promo code NFL Daily, there are a bunch of prop bets too. For example, who leads the NFL in interceptions? Zach Wilson, plus 800. Davis Mills, plus 800. They're both tied for that role, with maybe Wilson's injury causing some concern for bettors in terms of not throwing as many INTs. Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, both plus 1,000. And then former turnover-ish prone guys, Matt Stafford, plus 1,400. And Jameis Winston, who I think is a really good bet here at plus 1,400 as well. Throw some money down at chatsports.com/bet, promo code NFL Daily. Let's talk wide receiver trade again now, as the Panthers have received trade calls on both Terrace Marshall and Robbie Anderson. Now, as we sit currently, Carolina says they are not interested in a trade. Now, they've got 7 receivers on the roster after they traded for Laviska Shenault, who will break down that trade momentarily as we run through all of the trades that went down. But Carolina's been, I think, disappointed with the play of Marshall, and they also restructured Robbie Anderson, so I don't think they're going to go that route, but it is just worth keeping an eye on from that perspective. Laviska Shenault is now on there. Shi Smith, who I like quite a bit. Rashard Higgins. Andre Roberts. Honestly, I think that's a good receiving core. Here's what The Athletic wrote. 7, in terms of 7 receivers, feels like a surplus. And teams have called the Panthers to see if Marshall or Anderson is available. The Panthers don't plan to trade either player, but Fitterer had always said he'll listen. I don't think either guy gets dealt. It's too early to bail on Terrace Marshall, and the Robbie Anderson trade doesn't make much sense unless they're getting a big draft pick back from that perspective. So name a player who you think ends up getting traded. Let me know in the comments section what player you think ends up getting dealt in the coming days. Now, we are 83 subs away from 318K, and YouTube keeps taking them away from us. I don't know why. I think it's a bunch of bot accounts, but let's get that changed. We've gotten to 318K like 5 different times, then we lose 10, and then we lose 5, then we gain 4. It's annoying. If you have not already subscribed to us here at NFL Daily at Chat Sports, hit that big red button and do so right now. All right, let's run through all of the trades that have gone down. First up, and this is in the last 24-ish hours, Laviska Shenault, who the Jags, I think we're going to cut, has been sent to Carolina for a 2023 6th and a 2023 7th. He's not been that good. I'll make note that Ben McAdoo, the Jags' former involved member of the organization, is now the OC in Carolina. There was this one, though, the shocking one, my favorite trade I've seen in a while, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and a 7th-round pick for a 5th and a 6th. Here's the way I go about it. You just traded Jalen Reagor for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Well done, Philadelphia. Trayvon Mullen also dealt for next to nothing to Arizona. I am shocked by that one. He hasn't been a star, but I think he's a pretty good football player. I think he can start for Arizona. I love that deal for the Cards. Depth pieces here, Grant Stewart and a 7th for a 6th, so they basically gave him away because he wasn't going to make the team. Dennis Daly goes to Tennessee, some more O-line depth. Daly and a 7th for a 5th next year, 2024. Denver gave up Malik Reed. I love this one for Pittsburgh, as they got Malik Reed and a 7th in exchange for a 6th-round pick, so he was going to get cut. A lot of these guys are going to get cut, obviously. Speaking of Pittsburgh, Jesse Davis, he goes to the Steelers in exchange for a 2025 7th-round pick. And Minnesota, where we began everything with the Jalen Reagor trade, they also got Ross Blacklock, the former round 2 pick from TCU, plus a 7th in exchange for a 2023 6th-round pick. Look at all that moves, man. Chaos out there. All right, who will win the Super Bowl? Let me know in the comments section. The bots are back, damn it. Speaking of the bots, you're right, Kyle. That's annoying. We'll type B to block them. Helps us out. All right, who will win the Super Bowl this year? Let me know in the comments section. I see Ravens, Bills, Bucks, 49ers, the Niners, Falcons, Bengals, Cowboys. I see, getting some more in. Bills from John Kruger. I see you, David Shua. Verify went Falcons. Nah, they have no chance. Eagles, Raiders, Bengals, Raiders, Falcons again, Raiders. People are now just shouting out their favorite team, I feel like. I feel like that's what's happening here. Raiders, Patriots, Bears. Yeah, I'm talking Super Bowl. Not favorite team. Super Bowl. Bills versus Rams. That'd be fun, Taco. Vikings. A lot of Raiders in there as well. All right. We'll see. Well, so you're spamming your favorite team in reality. If you have questions on your favorite team, let me know in the comments section. 2 ways to get on the show. Number 1 is to use hashtag NFL. Number 2 is to super chat. If you super chat, you'll become the MVP of today's show. Nobody's done so yet at this point. And you'll jump to the front of the line with your mailbag questions. After today's show wraps up live on Facebook and on YouTube, NFL Daily After Hours exclusively on Rumble. That's right, my friends. NFL Power Rankings coming up on that side. Get your questions in for NFL Daily, and then make sure you're sticking around after everything wraps up for our Rumble After Hours show. You're watching NFL Daily. I am Tom Downey, answering all of your questions as they come in live right here on NFL Daily by Chat Sports. From Goku to the Cowboys trade a pick for an offensive lineman. If it's a day 3 pick, a late day 3 pick, sure. Here's the problem every team has found when they need offensive line help. There is a lack of good offensive line talent. You have a very tough time finding a true starter from that standpoint. So, sure, if you can find one, maybe Jason Peters makes the most sense for the Cowboys when it's all said and done. From Relentless Mikey, Dark to Light. That's a fun name. If no franchise tag next year, get big value for Roquan and trade. Here's the problem. You have to franchise tag him to trade him. Roquan Smith will become a free agent next year. So it's either tag and trade, which brings down the value of a trade, or let him leave in free agency. So I think a tag is very likely. Would cost you about $18 million. But it is a lot more complicated to trade Roquan Smith as next year when they're got to put on the franchise tag than it would be if he had one more left on his deal like he did this past year. So that's the complication for Roquan Smith, plus the massive franchise tag cost at $18 million. From RJ, where does Odell Beckham play this year? It's a good question. I don't know where Odell Beckham ends up going. There are a lot of different routes. I'll say this. I think OBJ will sign October, November once he's healthy. And by that point, we'll have a better feel as to which playmakers, which teams are in the market for more help. From Slim Jim 68. That's a fun name, Slim Jim. Pretty good snack, too. If Lamar goes off, will he be the highest paid quarterback? Define highest paid for starters. Are we talking per year? I don't know if anyone's going to beat Rodgers for now. There's kind of some fake money in there. Do we mean more than $46.1 million per year? Or do we mean guaranteed money? Because that's Deshaun Watson's outlier contract, $230 million, fully guaranteed, thanks to Cleveland. I think the reality is this. If Lamar Jackson plays like a top 10 quarterback, he's going to get more than Kyler Murray. Because there are so many teams that are in dire straits for a quarterback, as we saw with Cleveland's handling of the situation, that somebody, whether it's the Ravens or somebody else, will throw the bag at Lamar Jackson. He's better than Kyler Murray. He's going to get more than Murray, otherwise he failed himself as his own agent and negotiator. So our question, will Lamar Jackson be the highest paid QB in the NFL? Y for yes, N for no. If you get the ad break here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Y for yes or N for no. From Cam IGL, Super Chat. Thank you, Cam. Predict Justin Fields' stats this year. It's a good question, Cam. I'm hoping for something like 63% completion percentage. I think it's going to be a lot more vertical shots offense. That'll help keep down the completion percentage, but is still, growth from what it was last year. I'll go a little bit lighter on the yards. I think they'll run the football a lot. 3,872 passing yards. And I hope a lot better touchdown-interception ratio. How about 24-10? TDs, interceptions. Actually, almost the inverse of what it was last year, INTs, touchdowns. I think that'd be good growth for Fields. I don't love his receiving core. I don't love his offensive line. The Bears are rebuilding in a massive way this year. So even if it's not great, I'm not out on Justin Fields because the supporting cast is simply not there yet for a year 2 QB. From Robert Bruce, hello, Tom, Jack, everyone at Chat Sports. Biggest concerns with the Patriots offense. Is it offensive line or is it the new scheme? Scheme, right? It's the fact that somehow Matt Patricia / Joe Judge / Bill Belichick are your play callers. Producer Jack's like this right now. He's in shambles. It doesn't make sense. It's really weird. I get that it's Bill Belichick, the coach, and he has earned the benefit of the doubt, but everything New England's done since the end of last season, I just don't get it. I really don't. So I'll give him some benefit of the doubt, but if the Patriots are bad this year, would anyone be surprised? I don't think so. I really don't think so in the end. Now, today's show is made possible by our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Head over to chatsports.com/bet and use the promo code you see right there. It's NFL Daily. Chatsports.com/bet, promo code NFL. You can bet on a wide array of things, week 1 games, odds, and about some Coach of the Year odds. Some big lines here, by the way, so if you can get it right, you're going to win a ton of money. Brandon Staley, Josh McDaniels, and Brian Dable are your betting favorites, which McDaniels being in there, I get Staley and Staley and Hackett, but I think I'm not sold on the Raiders. I'm a little bit worried on that front there. Mike McDaniels plus 6,000 or 1,600, same as Shanahan, Nick Sirianni, and Kevin O'Connell. So an obvious bias towards the new coaches. If the Chargers make the playoffs, maybe they'll give it to Brandon Staley. But I think that is always a wide open race. It's a good one to keep an eye out for. All right, Matthew Frey or Fry. Do my Broncos do anything where they stay confident with what we got? You might see some back end of the roster shuffling, but it's been pretty quiet in Denver since the draft, basically, which was already kind of quiet from that standpoint. I would not anticipate any major moves coming from Denver. Maybe look at a veteran after week 1 where there's some guaranteed from that standpoint stuff. It's not as guaranteed money, but I'm not expecting anything big. True lore. So the Niners on a backup QB if Jimmy leaves in 2023. That's what they did this year. They signed Nate Sudfeld to replace Jimmy Garoppolo. Then there was no trade market for Jimmy G, and they kept him. Then they cut Sudfeld. They kept Brock Purdy. If Purdy's the backup, then you're fine. If not, yes, you should sign someone. From Taco Frog 88, should the Texans trade for Darius Slayton? I think the addition of Tyler Johnson, for the most part, keeps them out of the wide receiver race. I'll also say this for Houston. Don't trade for players. Let's be honest here. They're probably not going to be that good if we're being honest about where that team is at as an organization. Even with Dameon Pierce as RB1 and a nice young piece long-term and Kenyon Green and maybe Davis Mills breaks out, it's not going to be great overall. You're talking below 500. So I would not trade a draft pick for a wide receiver 3/4. From Entertainment Now, if you insist, the Titans bring in Odell Beckham Jr. They've, depending on when you watch the video, maybe they've signed Josh Gordon by now. Bring him in for a visit. Odell Beckham, I do not believe will sign until October, November, when he's healthy. If we get to that time frame and Robert Woods ain't playing great, and or Treylon Burks has been a disappointment, and or there's injuries, and or it's just, Nick Westbrook-Akina is who we think he is, right? Like, then Tennessee does make sense. But there will be other teams in the market. So we're trying to guess, knowing there could easily and probably will be some injuries. What are you doing from that standpoint there? There's a lot of uncertainty from that standpoint. So where will Odell Beckham sign? Let me know in the comments section. Is it going to be Tennessee or is it going to be somewhere else altogether? Drop that destination for me in the comments section. From Elizabeth Rothschild, should the Jags trade for Denzel Mims, Darius Slayton, or neither? Of the guys, I think Denzel Mims would be the most fun. I think they're going to roll it with Marvin Jones, Zay Jones, and Christian Kirk. Kind of puts Mims right back where he is right now in the fourth, as a fourth receiver or fifth receiver. So, yeah, I don't think that's the most likely outcome. I think Jags maybe draft someone next year makes the most sense. Junior Estrada, should the Patriots bring back Logan Ryan? He's going to re-sign with the Bucs. That was a cut and then bring him back to juggle the roster stuff. So, again, I don't think it's a huge need. I want a pure outside corner. It's not really what Logan Ryan is at this point. He's more of a nickel safety hybrid player. So I say no either way for the Patriots. Now, the NFL season is almost here. So subscribe for free daily videos. That is news, rumors, you name it. Let me know in the comments section if you have subscribed. If not, hit that big red button right now. Verifee, any free agent offense lineman for the Falcons? I mean, you claim Chuma Adoga. I would look at a guy like Eric Flowers, plug him in at left guard, but that's kind of the situation I think they're at, where you don't need to invest. There isn't much more options to invest on that offensive line. There is a dearth of talent out there. It makes things very tricky to juggle from that standpoint. From Joshua Pedraza, who will have the biggest upset win in Week 1? Okay, let me pull up the Week 1 schedule since I don't have that committed to memory. I'm not quite that big of a nerd when it's all said and done. So let's see what we got here. We've got Eagles, Lions, Niners, Bears, Steelers, Bengals. I don't know if any of those would be good upsets. Patriots, Dolphins, Saints, Falcons. Okay, how about Joe Flacco elite upset alert? Jets take down the Ravens. That'd be pretty stunning, I think. That'd be crazy stunning. Yeah, I'm going to go with that one. I'm going to go Jets take down the Ravens or the Vikings take down the Packers. That's just the route I think you could consider going in the end. All right, from the RC Plane Builder, top 5 candidates for Comeback Player of the Year. Okay, well, actually, how about we show you the odds for Comeback Player of the Year? Derrick Henry plus 425, Jameis Winston plus 450, Daniel Jones plus 800, Christian McCaffrey plus 1,000, and Michael Thomas plus 1,000. So 2 Saints players on there. I'm going to cross off Daniel Jones. Sorry. If McCaffrey stays fully healthy for a year, which is a pretty big if, I think it's McCaffrey. I like the value there, plus 1,000. Henry's a good bet, and you can never rule out the wee baby Jameis, of course, because that's just how things always tend to go. So who will win Comeback Player of the Year? Let me know in the comments section. Is it Winston? Is it McCaffrey? Someone else altogether? Drop that name for me in the comments. SM, is Darrell Henderson a fantasy sleeper? Sure. I don't think he's that great of an option, but if you're going the 0 RB strategy, gambling on Henderson late in the process, I think is a totally fine move there. From John Dorman, worst wide receivers. Oh, this is a good one. The Chicago Bears or the Green Bay Packers. The Bears have Darnell Mooney, who's better than anyone on the Packers roster. Their best receiver is Romeo Doubs, Allen Lazard. Like, it's not a good grouping overall. I don't like either receiving core. I think by a pretty safe margin, though, I think it's the Green Bay Packers have the worst wide receiver core. It's bad. Randall Cobb's a shell of himself. So is Sammy Watkins. So I go Packers have the worst wide receiver core. All right, now I have a request for you guys. Shout out your state for me in the comments section. Jack, I'll have to get some shout outs for me because I got to do a quick message here if you don't mind. It is apparently National South Carolina, which, quick note, they're dead to me because they were renaming the mascot. They didn't pick Cock Commander. The General is what they went with. Absolute, just for shame, South Carolina. But shout out your state for me in the comments section.
All right, here we go. South Carolina from John Kruger. Happy National South Carolina Day. Steve Weeks says Iowa. Clayton says Mississippi. Billy, Virginia. RC Plane Builder, Georgia. Juan Hernandez, Vegas. Latuya, New Mexico. SM, California. Junior Strata, Alabama. Grunt Dad Sports Cars watching from South Korea. Thank you for watching. Cujo, Nevada. Get him in. Where are you watching from? We are stationed out of Texas. That's where we're at right now. Antonio says Illinois. Gaming Wizard, Florida. Initiative Gaming Group, South Carolina. Happy National South Carolina Day. Chulalore, California. Miguel, Mexico City. Pete, also South Carolina. Are you all really from South Carolina?
I don't know about that. This seems suspicious.
I don't know. It seems a little sus. I don't know.
Just a little bit there.
Isaiah says Mississippi. Joshua, Orange County, California. Get him in. Where are you from? Where are you watching us from?
All right, I'll give some more shout-outs here, Jack. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate that. Get a quick message out there. See Mississippi in there, Los Angeles. Keep the states coming. We appreciate that, guys. We're going to talk some top free agents left, but first, NFL Daily After Hours is exclusively on Rumble once today's show wraps up. So make sure you get over there, rumble.com/NFL Daily. The link to that live show is in the comments section and the description as well. Don't miss out. NFL Daily After Hours exclusively on Rumble. NFL roster cuts are done. There have been more waves, etc. We're looking at the top free agents left with a different spin on it. We're going to go through 2 different groups. The veterans who have been available and the players who were recently cut, some of whom are on practice squads or will be on practice squads. But remember, you can always sign guys off of them, so we'll keep them in there anyway. Let's look at kind of top free agents left and some of the more notable roster cuts made. First up, Anthony Harris, who I will make note right off the bat, is re-signing with the Eagles practice squad. But if you really want him, go sign him. There's nothing stopping you from pulling him off the practice squad, since I'm sure he'd love to be on an actual active 53-man roster. And then another Eagles safety, Jaquiski Tartt, also a free agent who the Eagles cut both. Got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, which was pretty incredible from that standpoint there. Different styles. Harris can do more of your deep safety stuff. Tartt more of your box safety in the end. If you had to pick one of these 2 safeties to go sign, who would it be? Type in AH for Anthony Harris or type in JT for Jaquiski Tartt. Drop that initials for me, those initials I should say, in the comment section. Number 3, Kamoko Toure, the former Colt, now former Niner, who has been released by him, or by them, I should say. And it's tough to find edges who can give you around 5 sacks in September. I think Toure could do that. So, maybe, again, he ends up on a practice squad, but I would keep an eye on that name given the lack of available edge rushing talent in the NFL. Number 4, Marlon Mack on this list. And if you don't want to do the whole practice squad thing, then shoot, just pencil in Trey Sermon here, who was cut while we were live filming this video. Marlon Mack is going to go to the practice squad, or for the Texans, who also cut Royce Freeman, by the way. I thought Mack was okay this year. The injuries have really caught up to him, but if you want a veteran back, that's a good name. Lynn Bowden Jr., who was drafted by the Raiders as a receiver, who they're like, we're going to play him at running back. And then they got through camp and were like, oh shit, this isn't working. And they traded him away immediately to Miami, who had him on the team last year, but he was banged up again. He's never been really fully healthy. I thought was actually pretty good in the preseason. Ends up getting cut. I think there is a specific scheme to use him in as kind of like a gadget player, more or less in the end, like kind of a hybrid return man, running back, receiver, like Nyheim Hines, but actually plays more receiver type of role. It's kind of my mindset there. I think Bowden would be a fun fit for a couple of different teams out there in the open market. A 2-part ask for today's pinned comment, so make sure you're paying attention. Number 1, shout out your favorite team in the comment section. Number 2, all in the same comment, but by the way, let me know a free agent you want your team to sign. It is the pinned comment, so if an ad break plays, take your time. Head down to the pinned comment, let me know your team and a free agent you want them to sign. Gerard Davis, next up, former first-round pick. He's a bit of a household name in terms of, like, off-ball linebacker talent. I don't think he's that good. I got to be honest. I have been pretty whelmed by him in recent years, just not being the guy that athletically he could be. We'll see if he gets another shot, but he's had opportunities in the past. Hasn't gone very well. Wyatt Davis, as the Vikings have, they cut a lot of players of last year's third-round class. They cut Wyatt Davis, the offensive guard. We mentioned Kellen Mond on yesterday's news video going to the Browns after being cut. They also cut Chaz Surratt, who is going to sign with the Jets practice squad. Good athlete, lacks play strength. The Vikings' new regime was like, all right, you're done, you're done, you're done. They had 11 picks last year. 5 of them are all that's left on the roster already, and that included 4 third-round picks. It was insane how quickly they were to move on from players. Actually, I forgot. They just cut Amir Smith-Marset. It's 4 guys left now of that group. Absolute insanity from that standpoint. Sometimes you bet on the draft and you get things wrong. And sometimes you bet on sports and you get things wrong. But sometimes you get things right. Head over to BetUS, chatsports.com/bet, and use promo code NFLDaily right there on screen for a 125% deposit bonus. That way, put down $100, they're going to literally just give you for free extra money, $125 to bet with. As long as you put down at least that minimum deposit $100 for the deposit bonus, blah, blah, blah. You can bet on the MVP odds this year. Josh Allen, Mahomes, Brady, Rodgers, and Justin Herbert. In some order, probably the way most people would rank the top 5 NFL QBs, which I think makes sense in the end. I like Herbert, though, at plus 900. You can bet with me or fade me. Chatsports.com/bet, promo code NFLDaily. Number 9 on this list, Phillip Lindsay. And I feel like there are people who haven't watched Lindsay play football the last 2 years. And they just remember the Pro Bowl guy from 2018, where he had averaged over 5.4 yards per carry, 1,000 yards. The problem is, he ain't that guy no more. He's gotten worse every single year. Bad production. Multiple teams have passed on him now, or cut him, I should say. So, relatively big name. Yeah, you'd rather have a guy like Trey Sermon, who again didn't add because he was cut as we were filming this. But verbally, he's available. Josh Gordon is number 10. You knew we were going to put Josh Gordon in here, right? Even though he's had one good year since 2013. I'll make note, by the way, the Titans are already bringing him in for a visit, so keep that in mind for Josh Gordon. Next up, we will run through some of the veterans, the guys who have been out there for a while, 15 names on that front. but make sure you guys are subscribed. That way, if you miss things, well, don't miss things anymore. Hit that big red button and subscribe. Free daily videos every single day right here on Chat Sports. The top free agents left. OG does not stand for offensive guard. You know what it stands for. It's the OGs, the guys who have been out as free agents for a long time now. That begins and ends with Odell Beckham Jr., which is kind of OBJ in the end. Beckham is not healthy right now. He is not going to be cleared to play until October, November, somewhere in that range. So he is going to wait to sign, and we will know more about ideal destinations when we are closer to that time frame. So with that in mind, in general, do you want your team to sign Odell Beckham? Our favorite way in here, OBJ for yes, no BJ for no. Number 2, Ndamukong Suh, another of the top defensive guy out there, allegedly wants $9 million per year, and that has not come close to happening because that's way more than I think NFL teams are comfortable giving Ndamukong Suh at this point. So keep an eye on that one in terms of just how he fits in. He's older, but can still help you out a little bit. Now, offensive line play is not great across the NFL, but there are some veterans who I think make some sense. First up is Darrell Williams, a right side player in terms of the right guard, right tackle option from that standpoint. I don't mind that. I don't think he's a premier player, but the Raiders should sign him. He's better than what they got. Eric Fisher's drawn a lot of praise. There might be some medical stuff with Fisher that's not been reported very well at this point, just FYI. Not as good last year for Indy, but he is startable-ish at left tackle, and I can't say that much about very many players. Donta Hightower, next up here, the linebacker. He might retire at this point. He said he wasn't sure. There was a report saying he wasn't sure if he was going to play. Well, now we're in September, basically, and if you don't sign by September, kind of not sure you're going to play at all. All right, Joe Hayden, number 6, the corner, allegedly has had some standing offers. Sometimes when there are standing offers and you don't sign, I wonder if there are really offers or if you're just lying to make yourself feel better or lying to get an offer. Hayden is not a number 1 corner, probably not a number 2, but he's a top, I don't know, what's the math right? Like top 200 corner in the NFL? I think so. There's a spot for him somewhere on a roster. Sheldon Richardson, number 7, the defensive tackle next up here. Not a premier player. Again, all these guys are either old or injured or on the decline, whatever. There's something wrong. But again, I think this is a rotational piece for you in the NFL. Now, Will Fuller's got some interesting situations to figure out. There's been the off-the-field stuff. He barely played last year, had the suspension. It's just a weird situation for Will Fuller. Like, I don't trust what things have gone on there. But if he's in the right headspace, 2020 Will Fuller is an awesome receiver. And I think somebody should gamble on him maybe after week 1 when base salaries do not become fully guaranteed just in case he gets in trouble or has issues again. T.Y. Hilton, is he okay medically? I'm not sure. Age very much has been a problem here for the Dallas Cowboys in terms of as things sit, or for the Colts, and T.Y. Hilton, just because he's not healthy. He's talented when out there, but a history of foot issues, that's a red flag for a free agent. I got 6 more names to get to. Who is the best NFL free agent left unsigned? Is it T.Y. Hilton, Will Fuller, one of those guys we mentioned earlier, or a guy just cut maybe we didn't mention in today's video? Let me know in the comments section. Number 10, Emmanuel Sanders. And again, there's medical concerns on this front right now in terms of where things currently sit. Is he okay? There's some whispers that his knee's not right and he might elect to retire when it's all said and done. But we'll have to wait and see on that front. All right, let's go to number 11, Jason Peters, the offense tackle, who, by the way, is visiting with the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think a move is imminent, but given their offensive line concerns and the fact that Peters was actually pretty solid overall last year for a bad Bears team, that's definitely a good name to keep an eye out for. All right, Eric Flowers next up. The offensive lineman, put him at guard. The Bengals, the Titans, both teams I think are in need of offensive guard help. Flowers ain't great, but he's better than some of the other guys out there. Chris Harris, the cornerback, kind of more of a nickel. He might be done at this point, but still someone to keep an eye out for if you want a veteran option. So too for Landon Collins, the safety. He's a box-only guy. He kind of lost his athletic ability quicker than he needed to or would have liked to, as a reason why the Commanders cut him. And finally, Colby, who says he has 2 offers. He says so. I think the way things went down in Buffalo and the injuries he suffered last year, I don't know if we'll get another shot again in the NFL. All right, how excited are you for the NFL season? Scale this for me from 1 to 100. I'm at pretty much 100 because I love football, and it's like you might not know this from the Everything About Me, but I'm a big football guy. Crazy, right? I see 1,000 from its Hobo Goblin. 150, 100, 100, 100, 100, 200, 100, 101. 1 and a lot of zeros from Evan Hinders. Hundo, 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 hundo. It's all hundreds in the live chat. Keep it coming. How hyped are you for the start of the NFL season? It is mailbag time here. So once again, 2 ways to get on the show. Cam is the MVP so far. Thank you, Cam, with their super chat earlier. If you super chat, you jump to the line, and we promise you your question will be answered. Otherwise, if you use hashtag NFL, you are put in the queue, and things are a little bit dicier from that standpoint. Plus, my friends, after this mailbag, we're getting over to Rumble only for NFL Daily After Hours. I'm going to break down my power rankings with the NFL season roughly 10 days away. Make sure you're tuned in for that exclusively on Rumble. This is NFL Daily by Chat Sports. I am Tom Downey answering your questions here as they come in as part of our live shows on Mondays and in this case Wednesdays at Chat Sports. We'll break down your questions, those that come in here, beginning with Carter Reimer. I'm going to go with Reimer because it rhymes. Over under 11.5 wins for Miami. Give me the under. I think they're going to be in the playoff conversation, but I don't know if they're really going to be able to get 11 wins is a lot, even with the extra game in a very tough AFC. So I'll take 10 wins for Miami, and I'll take the under. From the Tobo Goblin, what do you think of the Cowboys bringing in Jason Peters for a visit? Makes sense, right? You need a veteran help on the offensive line. I'd say keep an eye out for this. Maybe the Cowboys don't sign him right away, and then they sign him after week 1 when his base salary is not fully guaranteed. They played that game before in the past, but I like bringing him in for a visit, at least see what he's got. You don't have to sign him right now, but at least show you are looking and caring about a rather troublesome offensive line. From Chris, no great wide receiver free agents coming this offseason. One of the best options, $100 million in salary cap space for the Chicago Bears. Great question, my friend. Let me get my list up here of the top free agents next year. Things are going to be interesting for Chicago because they're going to have, like you said, all of the money. They're going to have just unbelievable amounts of cap space there. Now, Marquise Brown might fit, but he's got the 5th-year option, so probably not. I would like them to throw some money on the offensive line, especially if, like, Tevin Jenkins isn't great. So if Quentin Nelson hits it, I'd go that route. There's the Matt Edelfuss connection. Other guys, Orlando Brown, Chris Lindstrom, who's got a 5th-year option too. Maybe Isaiah Wynn. Matt Pryor's been okay. Mike McGlinchey. Though there are options for the Bears on offense to throw some money around, and maybe you spend some on Roquan Smith. Maybe you're a trade team that adds a big-time contract and extends somebody from that standpoint. So I think offense where they've got to focus, but it's not a great receiving core. So maybe go offensive line with your spending and then draft a receiver in round 1. It's not going to be a great O-line class with the early results. From Emergent, should the Falcons trade for Denzel Mims to take some of the load off of London and Pitts? Sure, if you want. I mean, I think that's kind of the Bryan Edwards role, right? Like number 2 receiver, number 3, or really number 4 passing game option. Mims, I liked him a lot coming out of Baylor. He hasn't gotten much of a chance in the NFL, But the Jets also were not sold on him being a big piece of that. So that's kind of like the status update with where the Jets and Mims are at. But he looked awesome in the final preseason game. If you can get him for a 5th-round pick, yeah, because he's young enough that he fits your timeline more so than a soon-to-be free agent like even a Darius Slayton from that standpoint. So predict this for me. The Denzel Mims wants a trade. Will he get one? Let me know. Y for yes or N for no in the comment section. It's the pinned comment, by the way. If the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Super chat time from Cujo. Who should the Chargers sign? Honestly, do you go claim Trey Sermon now and just like cut Michelle quickly? Like that's probably not how it's going to go down, but like that'd be fun. I would love some more offensive line help. Darrell Williams, he's an older player, but I don't trust that O-line yet in L.A. Super chat from Lion Fighter X. Thank you, my friends. LFG Eagles keep making moves. Look, outside, if we ignore the quarterback and the heavy weight that is given to rosters across the NFL in terms of how good you are, ignoring the quarterback position, Eagles got a top 2 roster, and I'm not sure they're 2. They are loaded. If Hurts takes a step forward, that team is going to be very dangerous this year. From Time for the Money. Good timing coming off the Super Chats, actually. Do you see the Vikings trading Alexander Mattison? I don't think so. The report out of Minnesota, so keep that in mind here, is that the Vikings had 12 teams call about a trade, and they wanted a lot for him. It's okay. It's fine. I don't think they're going to move him. I know he's not the great scheme fit anymore, but, I mean, he's not a bad football player either. So I think no Alexander Mattison trade when it's all said and done. Now, if we go closer to the deadline, maybe some things could change from that standpoint. I want you guys to name a player on your team who you think can be traded. So remember your favorite team, which you should know automatically. Let me know who you want to dump via trade in the comment section. The NFL Daily is also on Rumble. Free and uncensored content. Sports news, politics, tech, business, you name it. We are trying to grow the platforms you guys use. So give us that follow. Rumble.com/NFL. Links in the comment section and in the description of today's show. From Steve Weeks, what will it take? Who looks to take the AFC West? Whichever team you want. Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers, and Raiders are all pretty good options in terms of like, put it to this way. If they were in the NFC East, I think they would all be the betting favorite from that perspective. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs, then LA, then Denver, then Vegas. Sorry, Raiders fans, but all 4 are going to be very much in the playoff mix. From Dan, what are your thoughts on Thomas? Hope I pronounced the last name correctly. Odukuya from the Titans. He's a tight end. Yeah, he's a UDFA from Eastern Michigan this year. I think he's a practice squad guy. I believe that was because he didn't make the final roster. Correct, Jack? He was just a practice squad guy. Give him time to grow and develop. You know, he's a UDFA, small school guy. Was JUCO to Mac. So be patient. See in a year or two if he's going to make a piece. I think Chico Okonkwo, though, is the young guy to monitor at that tight end spot. Dustin Rushing, with the Cowboys sign OBJ and Sue in free agency? No, they're not going to sign Ndamukong Suh. They're actually pretty good along the defensive line. Now, if we get to October, November, and Gallup is hurt again, or there's an injury somewhere else, or Jalen Tolbert's just not good yet, then they could revisit the Odell Beckham situation. But he is not going to be good to go until October or November. Now, we here at NFL Daily have NFL, NBA, and college football coverage. So make sure that you don't miss out. If you haven't already, hit that big red button and subscribe for free daily videos. Ryan Hood, Quincy Roche to the Las Vegas Raiders for depth and signed Tyree Phillips or Darrell Williams. So as for Phillips or Darrell Williams, let's ride. You there, eyes. You're going to try to start Thayer Munford, a 7th-round rookie, or Jermaine Illuminor at right guard, or at right tackle. Bring in one of those guys. Let's ride. I am terrified of that right tackle spot for Vegas with a pretty good offense overall. And then as for edge, and you've got Crosby, Malcolm Kuntz, and Chandler Jones. I don't think you need Quincy Roche unless you can find a trade partner for Cleveland Ferrell. From Meme Review, Eagles have a top 5 final roster. I think so. Especially as long as we're not overweighting the quarterback value, which I know sometimes gets done, but if it's just like overall roster talent, equal positions to a certain extent or equal-ish positions, yes, that Eagles team is really, really good outside of the quarterback and maybe some defensive uncertainty, but more so the quarterback side. Daniel Jenkins says he heard that Darius Slayton wants to play for the Broncos. Would Denver be interested after Tim Patrick's injury? Maybe. I don't know how much interest there's really been in Darius Slayton because he's only $2.54 million, and yet the offers, I guess, have been non-existent because I think the Giants would have dealt him if they had interest from that standpoint. So I don't know if there's really been a ton of desire for a team to add him. I think Denver's also okay at receiver. Sutton, Judy, Hamler, Tyree Cleveland's back at practice now, and they spent a 5th-round pick on Montreal, Washington. I kind of think they're okay at receiver, to be honest. All right, off topic here. Name an NFL draft bust from your team. Taco Charlton for my Cowboys. Alex Leatherwood for all you Raiders fans watching right now. An obvious one. Drop that player's name for me in the comment section. Latuya67, most surprising cut. I'm going to go Leatherwood, like I kind of just mentioned. That because of the dead money the Raiders were going to eat until the Bears claimed him, you would have eaten about $6 million this year in dead cap space. That's a lot for a team to eat. So I am surprised he got cut. And the fact there was a top 20 pick who lasted 1 year with no, obvious major off-the-field arrests, etc. stuff. So, I was surprised with how quickly overall he got. I know there were the rumors out there, but the quickness of it was pretty shocking. $5 super chat from Ten Yang. Thank you, Ten. If the Vikings do trade Madison, which team needs him the most? They get to be a starter or a backup if he's dealt right away. If we believe the Vikings that they want a high offer, that would imply to me that he's going to go be a starter somewhere. The one team that jumps out now is the Washington Commanders. Unfortunately, as I'm sure you all heard, Brian Robinson was shot. Not life-threatening, but he's going to miss some time most likely. Antonio Gibson had lost his job to Robinson as a starter. That regime is, I think, kind of out on him. So I think the Commanders make sense. If the Vikings just don't want him anymore and take whatever they can get, plenty of teams could use him as an RB2 as a backup. But I think they want him as a starter somewhere. From Roger Morris, could the Steelers trade Chase Claypool for a good offensive lineman? Sure. Here's the problem. What team that has extra good offensive linemen would trade one for Chase Claypool? Claypool's a good player. He's not an elite player. This is not like oh man, we just got A.J. Brown or DK Metcalf. If he's better than Jalen Reagor, you could get a probably at least a 3rd-round pick for him. But there aren't very many teams that would add a win-now player like Claypool and move on from a good offensive lineman. There's just not enough quality O linemen left in available for NFL teams. The time to do that was months ago, not in September. I got to know, guys, who is your favorite team? Let me know in the comment section. Bonus points, whose line is in any way style, for the team with the most fans in the comment section. SM, which coach do you think gets fired first? Ooh. Mike McCarthy, I think, makes it to the year until they're officially eliminated. I'm going to go with Matt Rule. I think he's a better college guy. I think he's going to be, let me put it this way. Matt Rule is going to be an awesome coach next year for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Noah, defensive rookie of the year and offensive rookie of the year. Okay, offensive, probably not going to be a quarterback. I really want to say Drake London. I really do. Not sure there's going to be enough targets for a run-heavy offense to go around there. So Drake London makes sense. Maybe a Garrett Wilson. I could see a Breece Hall impressing there. I don't think, by the way, it's going to be a quarterback. I think the year of the quarterback rookie of the year didn't happen last year with Jamar Chase, not going to this year. And I'll go Trayvon Walker, the number 1 overall pick. He's looked really good so far for Jacksonville, but I really want it to be Sauce Gardner because I love Sauce Gardner and that name for the Jets. A lot of great defensive options, not as good offensively. The last question for you guys before we jump over to Rumble only. Who won the trade? E for the Eagles, V for the Vikings with over almost 400 votes, meaning almost all of you watching have voted right now. Eagles have 59% of the vote. The Vikings have 41%. So let me know, who do you think won the trade? E for the Eagles, V for the Vikings. Let me know in the comments section. While you're voting in the poll and in the comments, we're going to end things here momentarily on YouTube and on Facebook. Rumble only. NFL Daily After Hours exclusive live segment. My power rankings coming at you guys. So make sure you get over there. Rumble.com/NFL Daily. I'm going to put that link in the comments section right now for you guys. I know there's a lot of stuff going on there, and there's no one on the community side. It's all good. NFL Daily After Hours on Rumble. We're going to end the stream here and give it a minute, Jack. 30 seconds. As I spill water on myself. At least I didn't spill it everywhere on my computer and break it like Tyler did. So we're going to go over to NFL Daily exclusively on Rumble. I see Bobby Hass already over there. What up, Bobby? I love having you here on Rumble. Get over there right now. Jack's going to kill the Facebook stream and the YouTube stream. So we'll see you guys here on NFL Daily. Daniel Cash disagrees with me. Yes, it took Tyron Smith a while, but Smith wasn't that bad as Leatherwood, and he didn't get cut after 1 year. That's the red flag in the end. That does it for us here on YouTube and on Facebook. Rumble only, NFL Daily After